goes in the mid lane and a character that goes in the top lane so far. All right, we got the play. This is good. Reveal our Kahira. They reveal Gigantha, so this means Affinity, probably. We've got some stuff ready for an Urza Saga. Could mean Tron, too. Also good. Probably the double Spreading Seas Prismatic Ending hand is probably pretty good against a Gigantha deck. Yeah, well, it depends on the version, right? There's like 6 different versions of the 4-color piles. The Ewit version is one of the harder ones for blue-white. That one is one of the more difficult. There's several different variants. Several different variants. It's like the most varied deck, which makes sense because it's just 4-color good cards, but you know, and how you want to fill out the deck is you know, can be pretty open. All right. My guess is Affinity, but we'll see. All right. Looks like Affinity. Ooh, that's a very slow start from Affinity. We're going to grab the Triome. I don't think I want a Prismatic Ending here, especially with Counterspell. Yeah, we'll just hold the Counterspell here. But yeah, I would say of all those 4-color ones, that Ewit one is the most brutal for blue-white for sure. And I guess that's not the one I feel like I run into the most, so maybe my experience with the deck is different than yours because I'm often seeing the other versions. I think this is a fine thing to counterspell. I think we want to be using our counterspells on like thought monitors and whatnot, but you know, it's going to be like kind of an awkward sequence here. Having a Prismatic Ending this and then not having counterspell up anyways. I'm just going to grab an island. We need to find lands, of course. I'd rather not just have to cycle a Spreading Seas, but if we have to, we have to. If we find a land, I won't. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just play this tapped and say go. Yeah, we want to, if we can, you know, we'll use counterspells on powerful threats like Cranial Plating, but you know, stopping Thought Monitor is a big one. I think they have a density of like big affinity threats in their hand. Let that resolve. I think they have like Thought Monitor. That's the one I'd rather counter. Another Cranial Plating. Yeah, I'll counter that as well. Yeah, they only have 2 power in play. It looks like a scarier board than it is. Land. Ooh, Chalice is interesting. What would be a good Chalice number here? 1? I think Chalice on 1 stops a decent amount. You got like Signal Pest. I mean, Shadow Spear is a 1 of. It could be on 0. Welding Jar is kind of annoying. Might be better on 0. I'm trying to see if I could find like an affinity list. M-Knight, Ornithopter. 2 of these are already in play. 3 Welding Jars. Relic, Springleaf Drum. It seems like 0 is going to be the better one. I will use a Spreading Seas here, I think, because we are missing a land drop. Kind of sucks, but is what it is. Okay, nice. We found a land. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play this on 0. Say go. I don't want to use another Spreading Seas. The other Spreading Seas, since we hit a land drop, there is a temptation to use it to be able to slam Teferi next turn, and maybe that is worth it. But Urza Saga is a really a very problematic card for us, and that is a 4 of in this deck, and I want to have my answers to it. That's definitely a card that they like can break open this matchup with, you know. So rather not. Break open this game with, I should say. Memnite into the Chalice. Hey. That's why we played the Chalice on 0. Now, we want the highest chance to draw a land possible. There's also an argument for, like, having the prismatic ending on 4 here. Whereas, like, if I miss the land, I could prismatic ending this if I wanted to, but I feel like I don't really want to do that anyway, so I'm just going to take my draw. Okay, we find a counterspell. That's not terrible. We'll just say go. We're chilling. And again, they only have 2 power in play. That's not too big of a deal. We've got an answer for Urza Saga. We've got counterspell to catch anything, like, very scary. If we rip the land, we get to then Teferi plus have counterspell up. And hey, look, we put Fracturing Gust in our deck. We put Fracturing Gust in our deck. I'm really tempted to grab this Breeding Pool. I think I'm going to do it. This could be wrong, but I'm not going to want to shock it, and it could be relevant. I think I want it. Okay. That's a nice draw. If they don't go for anything here, I can end step that and then probably resolve my Teferi. There's a decent chance they have, like, Metallic Rebukes or something at the ready here. Blue. Okay. They go blue and then say go. That makes me think that they maybe have, like, Galv Blast or something like that. I don't know. Is that a card they play? Yeah. So maybe that was relevant that we got to put it there. I do think Metallic Rebuke should be on my radar here. Needle. Sure. You know, we've got ending. Yeah, Affinity's been popping up here and there. Urza Saga gave it some serious legs. People have found lists that seem to be pretty functional, so they just play like a million thought casts and snowball really hard. They go Teferi Time Raveler, say go. I'm going to go ahead and try to draw 2 cards. Just snap resolves. Okay. Do I want to go for this Teferi Time Raveler? Or sorry, for this this other Teferi. I did just crack my land in order to do so, but I kind of feel like they do have Metallic Rebuke here. Even though they F6'd, I think they have Metallic Rebuke. Teferi getting countered here would be kind of a bummer. I could, like, Prismatic Ending the Frogmite instead and see what happens. I should have played Hall of the Storm Giants if that was the case, but I need 2 more lands if I want to play Teferi with a counterspell anyways. If I slam this and they counter it, where are we at? Not in a good spot. Not in a good spot if they do that. So if I Prismatic Ending and tap out, I'm not in a great spot either. Interesting. I do think they have Galvanic Blast. I do think they have Galvanic Blast in their hand too. Which means I don't want to take too much damage. It's a really tricky threat to answer because of Prismatic Ending. Really need to draw like a Solitude or something. Alright. I'm going to go for it. I think they have it, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to see. Ooh. No, we can't kill Frogmite and have counter up. It's 4 mana. So we'd have to tap down to 1. Well, that resolving is massive. They still don't have red mana. Now we have counterspell up. No red mana to pressure anything with Galv Blast. I kind of forgot we have 2 Prismatics in our hand. Wow, we find Jace the Mind Sculptor. That is not bad. See if this goes at us or at Teferi. Yeah. I mean, it's probably the right Teferi to name, right? That's a 4 of. This is a 1 or 2 of. So they send face. It's funny. Like, I'd still play the other Teferi because it just gives me protection from rebukes and whatnot. Do they main deck rebukes? Oh, maybe they don't main deck rebuke. Maybe that's only in the board. There we go. There's the Urza Saga that we have the Spreading Seas saved up for. Another Prismatic Ending. There's the little Teferi. Let's go ahead and Spreading Seas the Saga. We draw Solitude. Fantastic. Yeah, I like all this. I'm just going to go ahead and untap here. I'll take a hit from Frogmite and go for like an end step Solitude. If I don't need to counterspell anything. Yeah, I'm going to counterspell that. Your channel are all read only. I don't know what that means. Don't know what that means. Oh, no. If you all you have to do when you first join, you'll see that there's the rules section here. And if you go to, let's see, where did we move it? I know it is it the schedules and links. Oh shoot, where did we move it? Is it another self-assigned roles? No. Oh god, I need Logical. Logical set all this up. Logical, what'd you do? Rules. I thought he made it so it's automated. There should have been a thing where you can click on something and it allows you it's to prevent bots from like attacking the Discord like we've had in the past. I'll figure that out. That's not the case. No, it's not. So anyone can join. Anyone can join. But there should be a way that you like react to a thing and then you have permissions to speak and whatnot. Sorry, I thought it was like right there when you first joined. It should have been like the only thing you could see. Okay, we may go for Prismatic Ending the Pithing Needle to Fairy, pick up the Seas. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Uptick. Oh. Got him. Or we will simply draw it. Or we will simply draw it. Go ahead and attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead, untap these two, and I'll just like discard a Prismatic Ending. And now we have Memory Deluge plus Archmage's Charm up, and then we have a Teferi that's ultimating, and that's going to send them to the Stone Age with this Jace the Mind Sculptor. Chat verification, there you go. Maybe chat verification you can only see if you're not already verified. That's probably what it is. I think that channel maybe disappears once you are verified. Okay, and they concede. They ended up finding a red source for the Galvanic Blast, go for Galvanic Blast, and they lose. We're going to bring in Fracturing Gust. We're going to bring in Stony Silence as well. Both are pretty nice. Stony's okay. You know, it's good against like the cranial plating and whatnot. So it doesn't do too much outside of that, but it's good there. Chalice is a lot better on the play. Chalice on 0 in your opener can just like completely shut down a keep from them. I think Deluge is a bit slow. Yeah. This thing. You should be able to see that when you first pop in. And then if you just do the correct stuff there, it should let you do all the business you need to do. I think this Teferi, he's okay. It's really not great. Did the Saga just die when you put Spreading Seas? It does. So it sees... Spreading Seas kills Saga because it is still a Saga, and it no longer sees that it, like, needs a certain amount of chapters, so it just, like, is maxed out on chapters and dies. It's confusing. It's confusing how it works, but yeah, Spreading Seas kills it immediately. It's the same way that if you Blood Moon kills it immediately. If there's one in play and you play a Blood Moon, it just all Urza Sagas in play just immediately die. It has some weird thing to do where, like, they keep the Saga type in Sagas. If they have chapters equal to the amount that they're looking for, they die right away. It's weird. I'm just gonna trim an Archmage's Charm. Oh wow, nice. That's a great start. That is a great start. Getting a Ragavan. That's big money. Oh man, this hand's so good on the play. It's so good on the play. It's probably not good enough on the draw. Maybe not having a... Like, on the draw, you really want Prismatic Ending, maybe Solitude, Stony Silence, maybe. Stony Silence is good because it hits the lands really hard. That's one of its strengths. Chalice is really good, like I said, on the play. Yeah, it's a weird interaction. It's a little unintuitive. I think I'll keep this because, like, lands, Spreading Seas being good against one of the roughest cards for us. And, you know, just because you don't have it on the play doesn't mean it's not still decent. Excuse me. We really want to focus on white sources here. This Fracturing Gust is triple white. Okay. That ain't crazy. That is not a crazy start. Ooh. Okay. I think we actually snipe that. I think I go Hallowed Fountain, snipe this Chalice of the Void. I think they have a hand that's probably going to be really heavy on affinity things, and just keeping down the affinity threats are not bad. Just keeping down artifact count. I think this is worth using an ending on. I think it slows them down enough that this is worth. Correct. Breeding Pool is... Breeding Pool is a thing that helps us cast Fracturing Gust. What? Deal! So right now, a Stony Silence would end the game. That would be our best draw. I'm just going to go ahead and pass and not use a Spreading Seas here in fear of Urza Saga. Aether Spellbomb is a confusing one for me to see here. Surprised to see that that's still here. They just pass. Yeah, they have a very awkward hand. Them passing, I'm going to go ahead, grab... I did say I want to focus on white sources. I do want to hit my land drop here, and it is important that it's blue. Do I want to shock in the Hallowed Fountain? I'm going to cycle Shark Typhoon. The question is, do I shock this or not? The thing is, Fracturing Gust is like 1,000,000 mana, so, okay, I'm probably fine to not shock here. It's probably more correct to not shock. We'll cycle this. We're hoping to find lands in our top 2 here. Nice. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. There we go. We're looking great. Now, if I don't need to counter anything with Archmage's Charm, since I drew my land, I'm not worried about missing my next land drop, so like I could maybe grab the Rogren Triome here, and then I'm set for my white sources. We'll see. Jace next turn looks really good with them sacking Spellbomb. Metallic Rebuke looking less likely. They're going for something here. Yeah, I think I just counter... I think I counter using the counter spell. I think the Archmage's Charm drawing here is real. We'll go counterspell this into Slam Jace. We're looking pretty good. I might even Jace up, honestly, to get it out of Galvanic Blast range. They just concede. Fantastic. We were going to draw Solitude, slam our Jace, Brainstorm if we No, we'd probably up. Oh, I mean, that's not really good against these, but all right, cool. I mean, we're pretty... Affinity can be rough, but we have a decent amount of stuff for them. Those were two very bad keeps on their part, though. I think they mulliganed to 6 there, but both games they had pretty slow hands. Chalice on 0, pretty nice there. I think that pretty straightforward. 0 is the number to put it on. It's much better on the play than the draw. I think if you have a Chalice in your hand and you see a Gigantha, you probably just like game 1, you're on the play, you have a Chalice, you see Gigantha, just slam it on 0. I think that's just shuts down a lot of their hands. Stony Silence is actually primarily in my sideboard for Belcher, but it's nice that it has like incidental collateral there, and that's kind of the same idea with this Fracturing Gust, is that, like I was saying earlier, it's mainly there for Hammer. I love that it's just like kill the Saga, kill Sigarda's Aid, kill the Hammer, kill the threats, kill the constructs. Like, it just clears it out, you know? The fact it is a lot of mana. It is a lot of mana, but those games against Hammer can go kind of grindy, go a little bit longer. They don't always just kill you really fast. The fact that it has collateral against things like Affinity, Enchantress, and all these like side weird matchups makes it, I think, a good league sideboard card to have. Because in leagues lately, I've been just seeing everything. Everything. Like if I'm playing in a challenge, I might not put the card in my sideboard, but what we see in these leagues, it's just all over the place. And it's a really nice, like, pretty good against very strong decks, very common decks, and then hits like a lot of the weird fringe stuff. Fringe stuff usually involves artifacts and graveyards are two things that fringe stuff hits a lot. So that's why I'm like super heavy on Rest in Pieces and some some like artifact interaction, as well as like enchantment interaction. The Chalice might have been doing some stuff. They could have potentially have sandbagged some amount of something there. Sometimes you'll like sandbag 0 drops or whatever with drums to make sure that they're gonna be Moxes, that they're not gonna get killed. I don't know. That was meh. Yeah, I've played a lot of Sunset Revelry. Just this league, I cut my burn hate. Normally, I have Revelry or Timely or whatever. I talked about this in the Discord before I went live. I was like, wow, it's weird that like all these lists I'm looking at, people are not playing burn hate. I thought I'd give it a try. The matchup's kind of iffy even when you have the burn hate. Obviously those cards help, but I found that like I don't bring in Revelry anywhere else. For the most part, I really do not like that card enough to bring it in other matchups, so I've cut it for now. I think the burn matchup's like a little less winnable, but not by like such a huge margin, and I felt really tight for sideboard slots lately, so I just wanted more versatile cards. I wanted to experiment with some stuff I haven't been playing lately. I wanted to try the Purges. I wanted to try Aether Gust. Those are cards that can come in that matchup anyways, so I found a good sideboard plan for 4-color. I feel like it's the worst matchup for blue right now. I actually think that Grixis is the worst matchup for blue right now. I've had more success against 4-color than I have with Grixis. Grixis Shadow, Grixis Control, the Turok Grixis decks are where I am struggling. 4-color isn't great, but yeah, as you saw here, we are trying the Emrakul. We're going to see how that plays out. These are potentially cards we could try there. That I don't know how, honestly, Purge and Gust, I feel like they're not great. Like, you're killing Omnaths with Purge, maybe Furies, Gust interacting with the same cards, but also Ren. Oh, and Ren and 6, actually. You know what? Killing Ren and 6 is pretty big. So, like, these cards I brought in can come in that matchup. You're bringing in, like, Dispute, too. So, like, maybe, like, Purge, Gust, Dispute, Emrakul is your plan there. You're, like, taking out Chalice. Prismatic Ending's okay in the matchup. It's not stellar. Again, it kills Ren and 6, which is kind of big, but other than that, it's a little iffy. Yeah, right. So I'm thinking I want the more versatile sideboard cards in Revelry right now. I do think that it's a card that should be on your radar, and if you're expecting a lot of burn, or if like really aggressive strategies start popping up that are like really attacking your life total, maybe Revelry or Timely are things you should consider. Because of Grixis, I thought about putting the 4th Verdict in the sideboard. Yeah, I thought about maining the 4th Verdict. Turok is just a huge issue. I think I think the 4th Verdict in the 75 is not a bad idea. I am biased. I personally lean really heavily into board wipes. I always play like probably more than I should. I cut the 4th one, but I think the 4th one is like super reasonable right now. Most of the format plays into the board. It's mostly creature decks that play into the board. You know, it's good against a lot of them. You know, there's like a couple things that are popular that are decent into Verdict, which is like, you know, you Verdict, but they still have 2 mana and an Urza Saga in play. That's really annoying. There's a handful of decks that do that. Ink Moth is in Hammer. It's an Infect. These are decks where like Verdict is really good, but those cards dodge Verdict, and that's a little tricky. Yeah, I think the 4th Verdict, it's like a super reasonable spot, a reasonable place to be on right now. I've seen some humans pop up, which is weird, which makes me like almost say like, should the 4th one be a different sweeper? Should it be a Wrath of God? I also keep running into Thrun. I've been getting Thrunned a lot. So like, maybe Wrath of God is interesting, but the problem with that is Drown in the Lock and Counterspell out of Murktide decks. Like those are Drown in the Lock and Counterspell out of Murktide and Drown in the Lock out of Grixis make me a little hesitant to do that. But Thrun and humans are popping up. Thrun and human. I keep getting Thrunned out of sideboards. So, and you know what? And Welding Jar too. Welding Jar is also is a thing that I'm running into as well. I've been playing against Affinity a lot lately. You can see in the sideboard I've been respecting the matchup. It's becoming less of a fringe matchup, and it gets around Welding Jar too. Honestly, maybe consider the 4th one being a different sweeper. Maybe consider it being a Wrath of God. That might not be terrible. Hold on. What does this one say? This one doesn't have the clause, the can't be regenerated clause, does it? No, okay. I'm like, what's the commander sweeper say? It'd be funny, 2-mana sweeper against Affinity. That'd be sick. Yeah, humans making a... So vetoes are deep here. They were 4, and I do think we are potentially getting into territory where you could play less vetoes, but they were 4 because blue-white mirrors were very popular, and having it be a counterspell that you knew Teferi was not going to resolve was very big. And it's also strong against the Cascade decks that are violent outbursting you on your turn with Force of Negation up. So we were playing a ton of vetoes so that we could beat both Cascade decks and opposing Teferis. But as Grixis is getting popular and these in Murktide and Hammer are becoming the more popular decks, maybe Veto's stock goes down a little bit and we could have it be something else and you know, do something that like the 4th sweeper committing it to the board with these decks committing it to the board harder. But they were there for a reason. Maybe that reason's just kind of come down a little bit. I don't think Humans uptick is too good, but I'm surprised Recruiter is not seeing more play. Yeah, Recruiter, and I could be totally wrong on this, but every time I think about this card, I think this card's insane. That it's in the format now with Modern Horizons and it has like 0 play. But it's probably correct because Modern's much more of a creature-centric format. But Sanctum Prelate terrifies me. Sanctum Prelate exists too. That card's scary, man. Like, that card's so scary. As somebody that's trying to play like mainly instants and sorcery is like, I don't know. That card scares me. I don't think Murktide is that good against humans. They're a Cavern's Vile deck. Yeah, they're a Cavern's Vile deck, and they have ways to interact with Murktide, and they gum up the board super hard against your ground threats, and, like, Mantis Rider's got to be super annoying, this, like, Vigilant. It doesn't, like... I guess it doesn't... It's, like, interesting with DRC. It gets to attack you, and I guess you could, like... I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't if I wouldn't want to be on Murktide into humans, I don't think. I think I'd rather be on the human side in that matchup. Especially because it's not a matchup that Murktide's like necessarily preparing for right now. I think Murktide potentially could prepare for it, but they're not right now, so they just like don't have action for it. You have dress downs and engineered explosives, I guess. And then obviously you have a good suite of removal. Then again, you are playing like probably 3 to 4 bolts plus 4 unholy heats plus the dress downs and engineered explosives in the board. That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, you're certainly shifting into the control deck as the Murktide deck there, right? That's interesting though. All right, give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna really quickly use the restroom, and we'll keep playing this league. Alrighty. Let's keep playing. It's a good start to the league. See if we can keep it rolling. Can Murktide play Fury? That's interesting. That's interesting. It probably could out of the board. It's kind of similar to like the Blue Moon deck I've been playing. I've been wanting to work some number of Fury within the 75. The card's just such a blowout when it's good. Even though I have a low red count. Keep this. A lot of Mystic Gates, but as long as we have something that produces mana, they work. Well, you know, I think, right, Zigo, I think in the meta we have now, it's potentially not a good option. But there is a meta where it could want to play that card, you know? Like, how things sit now, you probably don't, but... Alright, looks like we're probably playing against a 4-color deck. This could be Enchantress. This could be Enchantress, and then we're going to be so big brain running Affinity into Enchantress with this Gust in our sideboard. Dude, this is Enchantress. Dude, this is Enchantress, and we backed Affinity into Enchantress, and we've got those Aether Gusts. Let's go. Of course it's Enchantress. Let's go ahead and put this into our hands. There you go. Of course it is. Alright, game one's going to be a little tricky. Gets a little better post board, I think. Game one, I think I don't like our side just because they have some cards that are pretty hard to interact with. Obviously being Enchantress, but then we got that Fracturing Gust. Aether Gust is decent post board. We got to hope they play like a Sithis here, or really a Sithis. Yeah. Something that I get to like Verdict and have Verdict be good. Alright, we are not touching their enchantments. Okay. So we have an option. We can Supreme Verdict or we can Jace the Mind Sculptor. Supreme Verdict takes them off a lot of mana. They currently do not have an Enchantress in play, and Verdict is going to be our only way to kill it if it's not Enchantress's Presence. They can grab one with Sterling Grove, though. If they go grab Enchantress's Presence, the Sanctum Weaver is going to give them that mana to really go off with that. Teferi's really our game plan here. Teferi ultimating. They have not a super easy time to pressure it. I think I am going to Verdict. I think it's correct to Verdict here. It takes him off of, like, infinity mana. It takes him from infinity mana to, like, 3 mana. 4 mana, you know. I could leave up Archmage's Charm, but I think just cutting them off of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 mana is probably what I want to do. Yeah, they could Blood Moon me. Yeah, they're gonna. Okay. Oh, they got Enchantress's Presence. Okay, cool. Well, if their turn is just land Enchantress's Presence, when they only have 3 cards in hand, that's not that bad. They must not be main decking the Blood Moon. Okay, great draw. Honestly, probably our best draw. We're going to go ahead and slam Teferi, uptick, and have Counterspell up. That is super ideal. Can't downtick if we wanted to. Like, technically we could downtick here, but we're racing to the ultimate here. We've got nice Counterspells in our hand. Which is good. This is a cast trigger cantrip, which is annoying, but we're just trying to ultimate. They're gonna have a hard time beating that. Sterling Grove, I think, is worth a counterspell. I think I could be wrong. That might be worth just leaving. Yeah, you know what? In hindsight, that might be worth leaving. Something like a Destiny Spinner would be really scary if they resolved here. So maybe I should have let that happen. They're going to on thin ice with no target, just a draw. Next turn, we're going to go Jace with Archmage's Charm up. Archmage's Charm up post Jace, that is. I think I want the Solitude. No, I'm not going to be able to target anything with the Solitude. Getting it as a blocker is interesting, though. Ending can help me break things up. So I kind of want to keep the ending. I could put back Plains. I think that's fine. All right, we're looking good for game 1. And we're still looking like geniuses for putting Fracturing Gust in our deck. Yeah, we're pretty much letting anything result. Like, Destiny Spinner is scary. And anything that's going to pressure Teferi. Destiny Spinner is pretty much the scariest one. Getting to Memory Deluge this turn would be really nice. Not having to use this Archmage's Charm would be really nice. Looks like a Blood Moon. Yeah, Blood Moon I'm going to have to counter. I think. Yeah, I should. Like, I could go grab... Yeah, it's just too risky. I'm going to do this before they draw their card. So they did have the Blood Moon. They didn't go for it there. That would have locked me out of the game if they just went for it there. That other turn. Another on thin ice. I'm really surprised they didn't just Moon. Hey, I'm glad, Peter. I am going to crack this. Let's get an island. Some Skyrim battle music. I guess we are on that Skyrim theme right now. There you go. Thing is, now that I have the planes, I could just let this resolve. Oh no, I can't prismatic ending it because of the Greater Oromancy. So they have like many moons, man. It's weird. I think I have to counter it. It's nice it uses a lot of their mana here. There's that spinner. Now, does it make the lands enchantments? No, so I can still Solitude the lands. Verdict here would be nice. Chalice is interesting. I can block her with a shark. I can block her with the Solitude, I guess. Because I'm going to hardcast it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can hardcast it with Archmage's Charm up. So many Solitudes. Alright, we just need to protect Teferi one last time here. One last turn, and then, you know, their enchantments have Shroud, but their lands do not. And Jace plus Teferi is just gonna eradicate their mana. I could prismatic. Yeah, I could prismatic here if I wanted to. I could prismatic here, but I think I want to. No, that might have been worth it. I think that would have been worth it. I think I should have prismatic because it was free. I get to untap my lands. I definitely think I should have done that. I think this is gonna work out. I think, you know, at best here, they animate one, get to attack. They attack with both. I Solitude the land, I block the Destiny Spinner, and I ultimate the Teferi, and that should be it. As long as they don't have, like, the main deck Oblivion Ring to get rid of Teferi. But even then, I have Archmage's Charm plus the Solitude, so I should be fine. But I do like your line. I think I should have Prismatic ending the Greater Oromancy. Because now it could be a little bit problematic if they're able to, like, assemble another hexproof piece. But I'm going to get rid of all of their lands, so they can have their stuff be hexproof. As long as I kill this spinner with the Solitude, it's fine. Okay. Wait, it does have Shroud. Why does it have Shroud? Enchanted creatures you control. Ah, rats. Okay. Shit. Okay, that could cost me the entire game. I did not realize it had Shroud. This could cost me the entire game. It has Trample. It has Trample is the problem. But I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can still make a 6/6. And then he only takes 2. I think that's our plan. And I'm going to have to buy some more turns. I'm going to go for that line with the... I'm going to go for that line with the prismatic ending this time and fix this. Unfortunately, we just have to go through a few more turns now. Whereas we would win next turn. So it is kind of scary. Yeah, I wish I had seen that. Looks like they have another on Thin Ice. That's fine. Now, hopefully, we are fine. Hopefully, this turn cycle, now we're fine. I wish I realized that. I was like, well, it's not an enchantment. It doesn't have Shroud. But I should have known Greater Oromancy is both. I played that card. shit. Had they already played their land? I assumed they hadn't. Had they? Yeah, they played Temple Garden already. Okay, so they actually don't have enough mana to activate here, right? So I could kill this. 1, 2, 3. Is this what I want to kill? Because this is going to give them to 4 mana, but this doesn't untap it. No, I don't think I'm supposed to. I think I'm supposed to let them draw these cards. Because I think I'm supposed to be killing the Destiny Spinner here. And if I go for killing something else and I need to Archmage's Charm something, I can't kill the Destiny Spinner and then Archmage's Charm. Okay, so they're playing like a shit ton of Blood Moons. I don't know why they did not Blood Moon us. And now, weakness to Blood Moon is one of the reasons. Like, I know we can kind of play through this Blood Moon now. Actually, I guess I just can't. I can just grab the island and we're just like fine, right? I can even Prismatic Ending it now in Hardcast Solitude. Well, I can Prismatic Ending it. They can't do much more this turn. And the counterspell I'm holding like really high. Also, I can grab second planes here if I wanted. I guess I do. Then I just go planes. Prismatic Ending. Yeah, I value the Prismatic Ending. Or the counterspell, I think, higher than the Prismatic Ending. I am a little worried about Emrakul. Which means I kind of need to kill the Sanctum Weaver. Now I can. So let's go draw. Kill that. I could go Jace Bounce here. Prismatic Ending here. It's actually like not bad. I think they have like more Sithis in their hand, but... Oh, you know what? I should have maybe gotten rid of this. I didn't think about... I should have gotten rid of the Enchantress's presence. Alright, but we're probably fine here. Bash, untap, have counterspell for something that would stop Teferi from ultimating, and then Teferi ultimate should like probably be good enough. Teferi ultimate plus Jace Brainstorm. Sorry, there's like this board state's getting funky and weird. But yeah, Enchantress's presence is probably the one I should have gotten rid of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're not gonna get to Emrakul. Destiny Spinner, huh? Let me counter that one. This is fine. Sanctum Weaver's fine. You may draw all the cards. Yeah, I think some of my lines this game have been kind of medium, but I think they threw the game when they didn't just go for a Blood Moon. If they went for the Blood Moon, I think they would have just won. Feeling like Teferi Ultimate Time. Kind of expect them to discard an Emrakul here. We'll see, though. Maybe they're holding on to it, hoping to be able to cast it, but I'm super gonna destroy their mana here. Probably this. I don't know, I'm gonna destroy a million things. Do this, do this. That works too. There we go. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Verdict. There you go. More draw triggers, but we don't need to do anything here. They're never beating that emblem. Got to counter Sterling Groves and whatnot, but I honestly don't even need. You know what? I take that back. I don't need to counter Sterling Groves. This is a bold game for them to want to continue playing. I suppose it's a time factor. I'm going to just try to play very quickly, because I am down quite a bit on time. But I don't believe they have any scenario where they win this game. Oh, they're just stacking them up on that one forest. with the Teferi emblem. This is bold. But I have a feeling they cannot beat me exiling 4+ permanents a turn, so I'm not even going to like Archmage's Charm here. Come on. Yeah, they're just playing for clock. Not even activating Jace. Who needs it? And now we have our secret trump card. We have Gust as well. Purge is interesting. I think I do want Purge because Blood Moon is a problematic card for me. I think I want it. Dovin's Veto we probably want as well. These are kind of funny, but I don't think I'm supposed to do that. I think I want these. I think Chalice is not good. I think Spreading Seas are not good. I think these look like what I want. I want this so I can kill Moon so I can cast this. I like Verdicts in this matchup. Teferi. Could trim a Solitude or a Shark. Yeah, sorry. I definitely got kind of sloppy there. That I didn't mean to get so sloppy. But it's just like, I don't know, playing against Enchantress is so weird. It's a weird board state, and you always can get like locked out by really weird things. Yeah, I think I like the Solitudes more than the Typhoons. Alright, this looks fine. They want to play the time game, so I just need to make sure I'm playing very quickly. This is a hand that's prepared for Destiny Spinners and Annoying Enchantment, so I think I keep it. It's not really ready for Blood Moon. Okay, they didn't lead on Utopia Sprawl, so I'm going to lead on Hollowed Fountain. If they led on Sprawl, I was going to lead on Flooded Strand, so I could get a basic Plains. Gonna grab basic Plains Prismatic Ending this Slithis. If they slam Blood Moon, I've got the Plains. I gotta find Purge, of course, but okay, they're not tapping for red. That's good. If this is Enchantress's presence, then I get to go to Teferi Balance it. That's nice. Here's a kind of scary turn. They could resolve something that could be really annoying. But if they don't have something sick here, we're looking good. If they just like replay. Ooh, if they don't even play an Enchantress here, that's great for me. Now if they play a body, I can let it happen if I want and do like a verdict deal. If they go for presence, I'm just gonna normal counterspell or veto. I guess veto, because I don't care about the uncounterable part now, because I have Teferi in play, and like Veil, you know. Land would be great here. Veto's not bad. I'm just going to uptick Say Go, have Dovin's Veto counterspell up. If they don't do anything, I can Supreme Verdict, heal the Sanctum Weaver. I could just Solitude it to deny them a bunch of mana in this upcoming turn, but I don't think I'm supposed to do that. They have 3 cards in hand. As long as we stop Enchantress effects from getting into play, we're looking great. They send back, it's so good. If I get to just end step this Verdict and cut them off of the mana acceleration, I'm feeling good about that. And they concede. Beautiful. All right, 2-0. We didn't even have to Fracturing Gust. Lovely, lovely, lovely. 2-0, 2-0. Affinity into Enchantress. Oh, hold on. I need like a 2-second breather after that. I was rushing a little bit. Sometimes those matchups, man, we can turn off this battle music. I think the battle music was getting me too hyped up, you know? I think it was getting me all hyped up. We'll put on some like Oblivion music now. Chalices are just more and more underwhelming each day. Well, that's kind of the nature of a card like that, right? A format will be really soft to a card, so people start playing the card that the format's soft to, and then it starts to be less soft into it because they expect that card. The more people expect it, the less, the less decks play into it, or the more decks respect it. So yeah, Chalices do fall out of favor. It's totally one of those cards. Blood Moon's another great example of a card like that. Rest in Peace, another great example of that. Once people start respecting a card, its value usually goes down. Blue-white is full of these cards, and that's why blue-white players need to have their finger on the pulse of a format, because you need to know which of these very potent hate pieces are going to be strong at a given time. That's why it can be kind of an iffy deck to take into like big tournaments sometimes, because if you just make the wrong guess, and that applies to every deck, that's just sideboards in general, but blue-white often main decks these things as well. You need to get it right with your main deck. Yeah, that's why it can be iffy there, because you guess wrong, you're out of luck, I feel like we're geniuses this league. we have perfectly predicted this league. Again, I haven't cast the card once, but it's just funny that it happens to be good. Yeah. Surprised they conceded there. Their hand must be so bad. Well, they had no Enchantress effect in play. They had no board state. They had 3 cards, and I had like 6. With a Teferi in play, which is a really rough card for them because anything that they do happen to resolve, I'm going to be able to throw back in their hand and cantrip. They were in a rough spot. You know, game 1, they started playing towards time, so they clearly were not enjoying that matchup, right? When you start going for those kind of outs where your opponent has you on 0 permanents and you continue to play the game, you're usually not having a good time, so they were probably like ready to get out of there. Give me one moment. I'm just going to get some water. I'll be right back. Sometimes those matchups you need a little breather, you know. Quite the peculiar league so far. Let's see if we keep getting weird ones. But that's kind of what I've come to expect in Modern, you know, especially the Modern leagues. I've really come to just expect the unexpected, which has made it difficult to play blue-white. You know, that's made this very challenging. It's very hard to sideboard, and it's hard to be ready for a Modern league right now. They're so varied. Which is great, but it's just challenging as somebody who likes to play blue-white. Chair stream, best stream. I really think the opponent should have won. I really think the opponent should have won the first game if they just played correctly. I think if they got that Blood Moon, they would have won. I didn't have a win con on board, so it was odd. You know, my win con was their suffering. That just kind of is what it is with blue-white sometimes. People just pick it up because it's just miserable, you know? When your opponent is out, has that many cards on you, and you don't get to really interact because of Teferi and all that, that just is what it is. My friend who's at the kitchen table called me. My friend at the kitchen table called me. Apparently, after some deliberation, he and the other 3 he got all made the switch to blue. I've created monster. What are you talking about? Oh, kitchen table. Oh. I see what you're saying. Friends that are newer to Magic. Okay. I got what you're saying. That was very confusing. Hardened Scales. Hardened Scales. Prismatic Ending. That'd be a good draw. Polluted Delta less so. We'll play the Polluted Delta. Say go. I don't think I want to like Chalice on 0 or anything here. Maybe I should. Gotcha. Sorry, Kings. The way that was worded was incredibly confusing. You left me very confused. This is good for us. See what the follow-up is. Sure. Yeah, this should be probably a pretty good turn for us. The idea with playing Chalice there would have been like this kind of turn. They could not follow this up with like a Walking Ballista or a Hangerback Walker more likely for 0 and have it work because like Hardened Scales. Seas. Grove. This is the scary turn here. We don't have we're shields down. Yeah, module, the animation module is definitely good against us. We're hoping to find prismatic ending. Yikes. That's very not good for me. That is very not good for me. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, now I wish I played Chalice. Whoosh. This is bad. This is all of a sudden a very bad board state. A welding jar is going to be challenging. I would like to point out, Fracturing Gust has found yet another matchup. Yet another Fracturing Gust matchup. Card is amazing. This is 3 in a row. We had Affinity into Enchantress into Hardened Scales. Fracturing Gust looks insane. Yeah, confirmed busted card in the modern format. I will say our Stony Silence looks way better here. We are only playing one, but it looks way, way better here. I am going to counter that. And then die to their last card. Yep. Super dying to their last card. Very. You have no cards in hand? Part of me wants to go like Teferi up here. Because if I go Teferi up, interesting. Because I really want the Shark Typhoon to be for 3. If they miss on this one draw, I need the brick on like one draw. I'm going to roll the dice here a little bit. I think I go Teferi, go up. If they throw damage at Teferi, so be it. That's fine. But I think it opens me up to some draws that get me out of this, specifically Verdict. I just need this draw to not be insane. Oh, shit. This draw's insane! This draw's so good! Yeah, I wish I Chalice on 1 now. It's looking like Chalice on 1 is pretty dang strong against them. Ancient Stirrings module, Hardened Scales. You get a Hangerback Walker. Okay, that is less than ideal. They sacked Welding Jar to proliferate? Interesting. Solitude would be a very strong draw here. Being able to Solitude Hangerback Walker while they cannot sacrifice it, they don't have mana up for this, and this is now tapped. I think that was a really aggressive play on their part. Is this just a kill Teferi? Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad I played this Teferi. I feel like it led them to make a really risky play. A really risky play. That did not seem correct. Prismatic Ending, Solitude, Supreme Verdict's even okay. They can't save anything. Like, they get 4 1/1s, but... Alright, Solitude. Yeah, we're going to go for just a hard cast Solitude here on the Hangerback Walker while they're tapped out of being able to... sacrifice it. That was really fortunate for us. I still think I hold on to this. I don't think I want it on 0. I could for additional Welding Jars, but I think it's going to be a lot more powerful if I get to put it on 1. I think they really messed up there, proactively using that throne. I do still need to draw well for this, but like this gets really big, yeah. And they've been drawing pretty well off the top. So have we, apparently. So have we. doing here? Choose a counter target bird, give another permanent that kind. Okay. Man, animation module is very good. If they want to send both servos under this, that would be totally fine by me. We really just need to beat this Zabaz. Thinking if I want to put Chalice on one to stop a lot of their draws, or if I want to just hold up a shark to be able to block this turn and also draw me closer towards a sweeper, which would put me in a good place. Prismatic Ending would be good too. I feel like I kind of want the Chalice on one here. I could take one more hit. I could be wrong though. But I think Chalice on one, have counter spell up, and then be able to make a shark that can block with counter spell up again if I don't need to use it here. While Chalice like turns off a decent amount of their top decks. Yeah, we're definitely going to counter that one. We can't quite make a shark that's big enough. Prismatic Ending would be good. Another Solitude would be good. Verdict would be good. And take 8, go to 6, we're going to gain 3. They could sack and proliferate here. We take 1 extra damage if they Throne of Geth. Shark Typhoon, hopefully going to be able to block and do what we need to. Destroy artifact you control. It gains flying. Oh, it doesn't always have flying. Interesting. Interesting. Huh. It does not have flying, so I could shark and double block. That's actually kind of nice. They don't have white mana. And I can make a shark that is 5. So that'd be 8. And they can make this 8, right? Proliferate. Put 1 on it. I also have Haul. I'm trying to say go. I did not realize this does not always have flying. You would think this bug would always have flying. Yeah, I can produce 10 here. Oh, what's happening? Oh, they're proliferating my Chalice. That's sick. That's funny. Wow, that could lock me out of the game. That's actually really scary. Animation plus Throne is going to make this a really hard game to win. I really need to draw Prismatic Ending. They like drew a 2-drop. Shit! I guess they could then Throne and cast it, but it's kind of funny. Okay. So I kind of want to go for the shark, but that doesn't do enough. I want to do it because I want to draw. I think I go to 5 and I animate the Haul and block. Double block, that is. Yep, they can make it 10. They can make it, but we have 10. So they just sacrifice it and let me keep my threat. Oh, it has modular. Oh, I'm dead. I forgot it itself has modular. Okay. Sure. Okay. We needed to draw some key pieces there that we never ended up drawing. But once again, Stony looking great. Fracturing Gust looking great. Rest in Peace is an interesting one because it does stop modular. And that is worth... It stops a lot of stuff. It's actually pretty darn good against them. It looks like Chalice is almost a liability. It seems like it would be good against them, but I worry that it might not be. I'm going to take out Deluge. I think I'm supposed to get rid of the Chalices, especially because I'm bringing in Gust as well. Actually, Rest in Peace is pretty good. Rest in Peace might be just, like, really good. Yeah, it's very weird that that does not just have flying, right? You would kind of expect it to. It's very weird that it doesn't. I'm not sure I can take out enough cards that make sense to bring all of these in. I think they are, though. I think the Rest in Pieces are worth it, because they make my verdicts good, where without it, my verdicts are iffy. With it, my verdicts are insane. I need the Spreading Seas because they're an Urza Saga deck. I could see like trimming Charm, maybe Jace. I feel like these are good because of things like Hangerback Walker. Maybe they're not super. And Constructs too. I could see trimming one though. This seems fine. I kind of like the Sharks. I feel like surprise blockers are okay. Maybe Shark's worse than these though. I could see Shark being worse than these. This can steal some things that can be kind of problematic if they don't have a sacrifice. Like if I steal a Hangerback Walker when they don't have a sacrifice effect, that's like pretty good. What's more likely to be bad? I'm gonna get rid of the Sharks. Alright, I'm gonna try this. Hopefully this is a recipe for success. Obviously the Rest in Pieces are at odds with the Fracturing Gust, but I still think I want them. Like, you assume that the Fracturing Gust will be enough to win anyways. Not a stellar hand, but I think we keep it. We're gonna hold up Counterspell. Counterspell into Archmages to buy us time. How good could their follow-up be here? Do I counter the 1/1 that is annoying with all this? I kind of feel like I do, just to prevent them from doing anything. It feels super weird countering this, right? But that card is like secretly decent, and I don't think they can have like a sick follow-up that I care too much about anyways. They have a Zabaz. It's a little bit better, but oh snap. Alright. Now we have to make a decision. Are we killing the Urza Saga right now with Spreading Seas? Or are we Archmage's Charming? What are the chances we die to this if I kill this? Probably really low. They're not going to have enough mana to like do everything. I think I need to seize this now. Okay. I'm a little afraid of that Nexus. Not so much this turn, but the next turn. No, we need to, it's 5 mana. It's 5 mana. We need 2 more mana. Ooh, they go Frowny Face. They don't have another land. We do need another white mana. 2. That's a big draw, dude. Big draw. Holy cannoli. All right, we're cooking right now. We are absolutely cooking. Dude, honestly, yeah. You know what? We'll draw. Teferi's coming to town. And we have Gust at the ready if they draw out of this. Okay. Interesting. That is interesting. Huh. How big do they make this here? Do they kill the Teferi? Between Ozolith? I think they do. Shit, do I have to pitch the Gust here? No, it only goes to 4, right? Okay, it only goes to 4. We're chilling, we're chilling, we're chilling. That might have been a bad spreading seas. That might have been a bad spreading seas. Would you like to graft? Would you like to graft, opponent? Yeah, we'd like to hold off of Gust as much as we can if possible. We would like to hold it, like, we want to sandbag the Gust as much as we can. And just try to win with Teferi. If we can win this without showing them that, that's great. But it also makes it so, like, if things start going south, this just rips it right back in our favor very quickly. Shit. Oh, that's annoying. Do I 7 them in ending the Ozolith? I feel like I do. Maybe I was just supposed to put Luris, or not Luris, oh god, not Luris, Kahira into my hand. Like, get Kahira, play Kahira ending meant I hit for 4, and then the Kahira pumps both of these the next turn. Hey, Corey. 3-month gift subscription courtesy of Little Donnie has entered month 3. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Interesting. Zabaz. What's up, Lucas? Hey, Baby Stop, thank you for the follow. They want to block here? You don't want to block your opponent. Interesting. Correct. That's why I said that the spreading seas was a little awkward. Do I let them? I have to, I think. And if we end up in like a weird welding jar spot, I can steal the welding jar, and then if they sack it, I can Gus in response. As long as we like posture this all correctly, we should win this. Them being able to kill that Teferi was really unfortunate. Would have been an easy peasy game. They get animation module. I feel like that's good for me. They don't attack. Okay. Then I shall castle. These both look good to me. You know what? I think I should have put other Archmage's Charm in my hand first. Because I can't play Teferi and have Archmages and have Gust. And I think I need to have the Gust and Archmages up. It's almost unfortunate I have the Celestial Colonnade in play, dissuading them from attacking with the Nexus. That's kind of what we want them to do. I almost feel like I need to crack it now. They're going to hit me for 5? No, they really can't because I have this Colonnade. Right? I guess they could. I get 3, 4, I gain 8 life, kill everything they have in play except for the Ink Moth, and then unlock the other Ink Moth. Or I could take 5. Or I could make a block with Hall. I could make a Hall of the Storm Giants block. It's a little risky. But fire up Hall, make it 7. And block Zabaz? God, I don't understand. It's a very hard card to understand what's going to happen when there's an animation module and a Zabaz in play. I think I can go for this. I have Archmage's Charm up too when I do it. I think I'm doing this. I think Hull block on the Zabaz is good. Maybe it's supposed to be on the token, but I don't think so. Block with Colonnade Steel B is interesting. That's interesting. They're going to fire up Ink Moth. Okay. Sure. Modular. Onto the Ink Moth. Sure. Trigger. Now this is going to incentivize them to fire that up next turn. I like Kahira, go. Then we have Archmages plus Fracturing Gust up. Ooh, Teferi, pick up my own Spreading Seas. That would have been a nice play. Maybe too telling, though. But yes, you know what? Because this is the turn I'm probably going to Gust, I think I liked that better than the Kahira. Teferi, down tick, pick up Seas. Very suspicious play. Very suspicious play. Not sure what you're talking about, Peter. Now, I like using this right now because I feel like letting my Infect get too high when they have Throne of Geth in their deck is a huge issue. So we're going to go ahead and fire off the Gust. Kill many things. Especially when there's another Ink Moth as well. Another Ink Moth. I'm going to disagree with you, Ronnie. I think it is a suspicious play. Respect your opinion, but I disagree. Let it resolve and steal it rather than kill it, I think. That way I'm not tapping out before something maybe more scary comes down. Another Urza Saga. Oh boy. I could steal this, and then I have quite a bit of pressure. They get a 1/1 off of it, but I could steal this, and I can give it flying, which means it gets over these things. I think destroy artifact you control. They have the red, so they can kill itself. So I think I'm supposed to maybe just steal this. Well, it's not quite that simple. They do have blockers. This can block if they find a white source. This can block. They have one card in hand. I'm wondering if I should steal this. Is this scarier or is this scarier? I feel like animation module is scarier. This is just a 1/1. Urza Saga is kind of scary too. I hope their last card's not really good. Ooh, Rest in Peace is interesting. Kinda. Alright, they're at 14. I can hit with the Colonnade and still have Archmage's Charm. Let's see, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Colonnade, Teferi, and have Archmages up. I kind of like that, I think, more than anything else here. And, like, I can just, like, Teferi bounce the Urza Saga, even. Colonnade, Teferi, bounce Urza Saga, have Archmage's Charm up. This attacks for 8. If they do like animate Ink Moth block, I can maybe bounce the Ink Moth. Animate Ink Moth block, get the thing. I don't know. That doesn't even really matter. I think I just bounce here if they do that. Okay. I guess they are gonna go for that. But I'm only at 1 Infect. I feel like that's fine. I feel like this is the more problematic card. Play Teferi. Bouncer's a Saga. Say go. Nope, it's not non-land. It's not non-land. It is return an artifact, creature, or enchantment. Charm is non-land. I don't think I ever suggested that I would be stealing an Ink Moth with Charm. Yep, this is game 2. You can always see right here in the bottom right. Bottom right down here, you can see game 2, Modern League 2-0. Okay, they're getting in with Ink Moth, which is a little scary. They don't... Maybe they're just killing Teferi. They're dead on board. They've changed their mind and they concede. Okay. Bigger worry is finishing game 3. I disagree. 9 minutes is plenty of time to win a game against this deck. I think I like how we're configured. Just find Stony and make it easy. That was a pretty good game. And it was still kind of rough. I think Hardened Scales is a little bit scary for us. We have some good tools for it, but it's still, that deck's pretty scary. Hello, bunny. Didn't double bounce there. Didn't play the other Teferi because I'd rather hold up Archmage's Charm. A long time ago, Freed, but I haven't in a while. I have some issues with it in blue-white. But I do need to focus on this game here, so I'm gonna focus up a bit. Oh, such a tempting hand. Such a tempting hand, but I think I have to mulligan. Even on the play there, or on the draw. I have some issues with it. I can talk about it after. I'll keep this, put back one of the Teferis. Would have loved to be able to keep this Stony hand, of course. I mean, they're probably not surprises as to why I don't like it in blue-white, but okay, good draw. Lovely. Love it. Stony with a Solitude backup for, you know, weirdo situations here. Verdict and Spreading Seas, like that was a good draw. I don't think Torp Orb is a particularly good choice either, for what that's worth. These are good artifacts that still work. Interesting. Interesting. Part of me likes doing the Teferi up so that I have the instant speed Verdict. It's kind of hard for them to kill it here. I think I'm supposed to go for the Teferi up. I could go Teferi down, but then it dies to Ink Moth. I do need to find a land. It's tempting to go down to find the land. Let's see what they do. The Rest in Peace here might just be like a Solitude pitch. Still is good against modular stuff, though. Stony's the more potent one in the matchup, I think. It's actually pretty close, though. I think Rip actually does quite a bit. But, you know. Stony does a lot, too. Too bad these aren't artifacts before they animate. I guess that would make them very, very good in other scenarios where, like, you know, artifact count matters. But it would also make them more vulnerable to artifact hate. But alongside actual affinity, the mechanic, it's worrisome. It does not turn off Ozolith. Ozolith cares about things leaving the battlefield, not dying. It does turn off modular. Well, they could kill Teferi now if they want to sacrifice their Zabaz, but then I could Solitude, which would be very tempting. I think this Teferi is actually doing quite a bit here. Yeah, if you read Ozolith, it says whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, so that would still trigger with Rest in Peace. Here's up Solomance. What's in the tank here? Got some options. You fire up Inkmoth. They can activate Phyrexian Core, sacrificing Zabaz and getting Ballista to be very large, as well as getting counters on Ozolith if they want to then also move those to Ballista. They get Ballista very big. They could move some things on Inkmoth. If they do that, they don't have the mana to... Like, Phyrexian Core does take mana to activate, so they wouldn't be able to fire up the Inkmoth. They're definitely in a tricky spot. If they just attack Teferi, certainly just going to let that connect. Okay, looks like that's their plan. This makes my Verdict play look nicer. Hopefully we draw the land. That would make things a lot easier. If we miss on the land here, things get a little sketchy. We find it, though. Okay, okay. Instant speed Verdict looking real hot. Yeah, they could make it a 9/9, but we would of course Solitude it with with whatever the final big triggers on the stack targeting it were. This looks like a great instant speed Verdict to me, especially with Solitude in my hand. Alternatively, I could not if I don't care about the Teferi, but I think the Teferi does enough here that I want to Verdict. Ooh, they're saying something in Spanish to me. So presumably they're going to... Oh, they don't. They don't fire up the Inkmoth. I want to know what they're saying to me. But I don't know Spanish enough. They can't animate this? With the modular... Oh, maybe the modular needs the target before it's on the stack. Well, I imagine they don't sack the Zabaz there to the core because maybe they want to use the mana. They're still sending messages in Spanish. Okay, there's a Saga. Now this is getting a little bit sketchy, but we do have the Solitude. I think what I'm going to do is use the Spreading Seas here and then plan on a Solitude pitch. Fantastic. That's also a good situation. I like this. Oh, they're saying I have all the perfects. As I just rip perfect, 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 perfect. As I just rip the perfects. as I go season to prismatic ending. They're sending a lot of messages. It's okay. Wow, the seas into prismatic ending was savage. That was a wild set of draws. I think the Ozolith there is correct over the Hardened Scales. Now some counter spells would be good. Another Verdict's nice. Verdict's going to have me uptick instead of downtick on anything here. To like draw a card, I'm just going to have instant speed Verdict at the ready. Another Ink Moth. Okay, we have plentiful answers for that. Jace the Mind Sculptor's looking good. I think I'd just say go here, though. I could Jace with like the Solitude pitch up, though, and that's probably good enough. I probably could have gone away with just Jacing. I think I like Solituding over Verdict here. That could be wrong. They're gonna Pendlehaven. Okay. Gain a little extra life. Like, the fact that I have Teferi at 7 means I'm not too worried about them, like, resolving some stuff I can just throw out of the way. It's actually not super good for me. I could go for the Bounce Spreading Seas, have the Fracturing Gust up deal. Do they ever go for that? I probably just Jace here, right? I don't have the Solitude anymore, though. And you know what? I think I should have Verdict, because I think Solitude... I'm just going to bounce this guy. Play Jace the Mind Sculptor. Rainstorm. Prismatic Ending. Plus Counterspell. Counterspell's really nice here. Just say go. They're still yelling at me in Spanish. Get rid of the ending. Have multiple counter spells up. Start turning sideways. Their final words were, "I am the streamer, and the chat plays for me. And that is how I won." You did it, guys. You won for me. It was all on you. You guys did it. Congratulations on your victory. Well, we look like Galaxy Brain. We look like Galaxy Brain players here, as we have put Fracturing Gust in our sideboard at the last moment and have now been paired into Affinity, Hardened Scales, and Enchantress. I said, hey, there are some fringe decks. This card's for Hammer, but there's some fringe decks that sometimes get played that then you just have this all-star against them, and then we hit all of those fringe decks so far. What a bizarre league. What a bizarre league. We're 3-0 though. I could not be happier with that. I think that we've had really competitive games on both sides. You know, despite having some powerful sideboard cards for these decks, I think we've had some really good back and forth. A lot of Urza Saga. We're seeing a lot of Saga. Yeah, good. Congratulations, everybody. You did a very good job there. Give me a quick moment. I'm going to be right back, and we're gonna continue playing. 3-0 so far. Fantastic start. I'll be right back. 3-0. Feeling good. Feeling good. See if we can keep it rolling. I will say we drew. The opponent was a little upset, but we did draw really well there. That one turn that was C's into ending was brutal. And the funny part was they said that message on the first C's. so for them to salt on the first C's and then be like, second C's ending is just savage. I do think I made a mistake, though. I think I should have done the Verdict instead of the Solitude. That way I could then slam the Jace with Solitude protection still up. I think I made a couple of sequencing issues, sequencing errors during that match. Hey, Pedro, how are you? This isn't Control. This is Magic the Gathering. That's true. And you know, I said if we have a good viewer count, maybe I would keep playing it. But I don't know. I'm feeling good. I still kind of want to play Control after this, though. I'm having fun playing Magic. That being said, I mean Control the game. I still just kind of want to play that. Maybe I can keep doing this half-half thing and just do some Magic right now and then do some Control and then do some Magic, do some Control. You know, it feels, do some Control in Magic, do some Control of the game. Okay, perfect, Bunny. I'll do that for you. Or you can do that for me. I'm doing well, Pedro, yeah. Having fun playing some blue-white. Doing well with it, which is always great. We've had a very strange league, but all of my leagues have been very strange lately, so hoping to avoid, I don't even want to say it. Don't even want to say the deck. I don't want to summon it into existence. When are we casting some Emrakul's? I guess if we hit 4-color is when we're or the mirror would be when we would be trying to cast some Emrakul's. No companion reveal from the opponent. Maybe Murktide or something. Looks like a pretty alright hand. We've got Chalice. We've got some good stuff if we can find lands. We're on the play. I don't think I want to just like blind zero this or anything. Ooh, that's smart. Storage counter lands. Oh god, what is the name of the blue-white one? It's like, isn't it like a salt land or something? I don't know what it's called. But isn't it like a salt field? I don't know. I have no idea what it is. Or a calcium field or something. Calcified pools. Ooh, Temple Garden. Oh! Oh! Alright, Chalice on 1 should be sick. Holy cannoli. Chalice on 1 should be good. No, I want to see lands, please. It might not be absolutely game ending, but it's probably good. Is it calciform pools? Is that what it is? I don't think it's irrigated salt land. It's a Bano. Wow, wild Nicodle. I hope this Chalice keeps us alive here. Looks like they're gonna be Naya Zoo maybe 5-color Zoo. Teferi could be good if I find the land. You know, it actually kills Nicodle. Oh boy, that's bad for me. Land would be so good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Prismatic Ending would be good. Land would be good. Things that aren't the things I'm drawing. Honestly, land, steal, wild Nicodle would be fucking insane because this is a mountain, so it is a 2/2. Okay, so they're tribal. Clearly tribal. Tribal Zoo. Oh, right, it's a mountain and I forgot it's a mountain and plains. It's actually the full 3/3. Ooh. And they can't bolt it. Alright, come on, land. Definitely countering literally anything here. Super countering Scion, but countering anything they put on the stack there. 1,000,000%. Land. Nice. Okay. I like that. Now we're going to say go. Archmage Charm, Steel Nikado to pressure the Ren is really good. Plus then I have to Fairy to like clear something if they do resolve another thing. You would hope Chalice would be slowing stuff down. Kind of doesn't look like it is. Gimme. Dude, this is the tech. This is why Rogren Triome is sick. You know? This is why Rogren Triome is sick. It's the wild Nikado tech. Holy shit! Whoa! They force a negation to me? They hardcast a force of negation? How are they playing enough blue cards to play force of negation? Oh my. Well, I can't let that happen twice, so... Well, shit. Then it's tapped. And then a haste threat hits me. I don't know. I mean, I need them to at least have to pitch if it happens. I don't know. If I do it on their turn, they just get it, so... Wow, I can't believe they have force negation. Cancel with my... No, if anything, it'd be negate with Miter upside, right? Not even cancel. Why do they have force? How does force work here? This is scary. This means this Chalice is not nearly as good as we thought. Oh, they're just going to go tribal. I'm dead. Oh my god, they're casting a 5-drop. What is going on? What the fuck is going on? Solitude. That's what I needed. I can't beat Ren though. This is fucked up. Wow. This is what I'm saying though. You see what I'm saying, right? Like you play a challenge in Modern, you're gonna see Murktide, you're gonna see Grixis, you're gonna see Amulet, you're gonna see Hammer, you're gonna see Blue-White Control, you're gonna see 4-color. You play in Leagues, Enchantress, Hardened Scales, Affinity, 5-color Zoo. Like it's everything. You just can't. It's nonsense. You know, it's just nonsense, and that's challenging. That is challenging. That makes it very hard to be a control player, I will say. Another Ren here would be devastating. Yeah, Leagues are akin to Friday Night Magic. I actually talked about this last time. I said I actually put Leagues like in terms of like competitive nature of what you expect to see. I used to put Leagues above FNM. I actually put them below FNM now. I would say you would expect more higher tier level competition from FNM than you would from this. At least the decks you would see. I know from my experience, FNM decks I would see are much more aligned with like the stronger, bigger pillars of the format than I see in Leagues these days. Leagues, it's just chaos. Like, it's completely chaos. Leagues start pushing into... Oh, they've lost connection. Leagues start pushing into, like, borderline kitchen table levels. Like, it's wild. It's honestly wild. Yes and no, right? That depends on your situation, right, Freed? Maybe on average, your average FNM versus your average League player, it is probably higher. But there are some pretty competitive FNM environments. I mean, it really depends on where your FNM is. I know, you know, but I think you're right. I think on average, that's generally the case. Leagues is just Rav Van Zoom. No, it's not. That's the thing. It's not. It's primarily not Ragavans. It's all weird stuff. It's super weird stuff that you don't expect. And not anything else. Opponent says they're having some client issues right now. My FNM is all blue-white control. How do I stomp them out? Grixis Shadow is very good versus blue-white. 4-color is also pretty strong against it, especially the builds doing things with like Eternal Witness and whatnot. Those are good. 4-color Eternal Witness, Flicker Piles, or really any of the 4-color decks are decent matchups. And then Grixis Shadow, Grixis Control, these are very good. Grixis Shadow especially, I think, is pretty dang good against blue-white. I'm joking with you, I don't play Magic. What? It won't let me tap lands, have Tribal Flame in hand with lands. They're not able to Tribal Flames. Hey, land is nice. Is Tribal Flames a sorcery? It's an instant, right? Oh, they still can't. Yeah, they're having issues. Oh, hey, what's up, Hendrik? How are you? Wait, Hendrik, how long have you been here? Oh, you said a thing. I have a financial question. Say if you were to sell to a wholesaler in MTG cards, what percentage of the day value should you expect? God, what did we do? God, it's been a little while since I've been in an LGS now. It's been so long. I honestly am not even sure. It's usually like the 50 to 60 range, I think. I want to say 50 to 60-ish. It always feels bad when it's 50 though. Honorable concession? No, not yet here. They're in territory to be able to just like they can just put this in and get a refund. We're chatting about it in the chat. We're not in the territory to quite concede yet. We're also not just like dead to one tribal. I mean, we kind of are, I guess. And I guess we are because of the thing. We'll just see what they want to do. We'll see what they want to do. We may concede. We'll just, I don't know. We're gonna play for right now. I've seen better rates when it's store credit. But yeah, you know what? I'd say sure. That's probably in the ballpark. Fine. Some places much better than others. I think we aren't beating this, so I don't. You know what? Now maybe we're getting in the. Maybe we'll just concede. All right, so I told them, don't worry about it for right now. I'll concede this game because they have Red Emblem plus the Tribal Flames. That's fine. And if they go into the next game and can't, then I'm not going to concede the whole match. But, you know, just file for comp at that point. If they go in and can only tap basic lands, I'm not going to scoop the whole match. But, you know, just file for comp and it's fine. Yeah, they were saying they were gonna like deal with it and drop, and I was like, well, hold on, we'll go to the next game. So we've got Celestial Purges, which I think seem good. Chalices are interesting. I think Chalice on one, I don't know, man. Maybe it's not even that good. It's probably like Goblin Guides, Wild Nikado, Lightning Bolt. It's probably worth. I think I want Gust and Purge. What do we think is subpar here? I think Jace is pressured so hard here. Jace is probably rough. I'm thinking. Spreading Seas against the 5-color deck that specifically needs the types is probably pretty good. Deluge maybe on the slow side. Cut some of our clunkier big stuff. I think like Teferi doesn't seem super good. I could see like these three being the cuts. A Jace, a Deluge, and a Teferi. We stay heavy on removal, bring in some more removal. I could see counter spells maybe being a little meh. The bug, they weren't able to tap anything but their basic land. So they said that they had Tribal Flames in hand. They also had a Ren Emblem. Presumably, I was dead to that, right? I'm not going to be able to beat that. They have Force of Negation in their graveyard with Tribal Flames. They're going to kill me. But for some reason, they were not able to tap their non-basics. I don't think I want Rest in Peace. You know, it's really just Ren and 6. We'll try it like this. I think maybe on the draw, I would feel that way, Pike. I think on the play, I like the counter spell. Okay. I think this looks fine. So, like, I've been offered $5,000 for about 7.2K worth of cards, plus I'll give them some bulk with it. I really need the money. Would that be a good offer? If that's an appropriate evaluation for the card, yeah, that's a solid offer. You know, it's a lot easier than going through and trying to sell off. It depends on like what is the size of that collection too. That's another thing. You know, how spread out is that value? That's likely going to be a much easier route for you than trying to get more money and selling pieces individually. That sounds about right, though. That sounds about right. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Goyf. The thing I am surprised about is the Force of Negation, because I'm trying to think, they must have other blue cards, right? You're not just playing Force of Negation as your only blue card, I have to imagine. So what is it? Maybe it's Teferi's? Maybe they're playing Teferi's? Okay. Yeah, I mean... I just asked them to just like check if it was tappable. Looks like it is. Hey, they said they like my content. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get this Teferi in play. Ah, Mantis Rider. That could be it. Maybe additional sideboard counter spells. Maybe this Teferi's not resolving. They're going to Veil to Cantrip. Interesting. Wow, this is a scary deck. This is a very scary deck from my side. Very scary. Yeah, Hendrik, I would say that's solid. I would feel comfortable if that is a if that is a proper evaluation of the collection and it is truly worth about that much market value. I would definitely say that's a very fair number. I saw that criminal scum. What's other like Oblivion Guard quotes? I'm trying to think of what they say. I know they go, "Ah!" They do that a lot. Halt! You have violated the law. God, I love Oblivion. Oh, I can't quote Oblivion, dude. It makes me want to play Oblivion so bad. I know one of his lines is like, just you. Oh, what does he say? Shit. Now I need to look it up. I say I know it and then I don't know it. He gets all like sly and like calls you a piece of shit. All Oblivion Guard dialogue. Oh, also, I guess I've had this on for a long time. Maybe we should, like, not keep having Oblivion music on. It's all over, lawbreaker. Ooh, they go for the concession there. Interesting. Okay. Let's think about the sideboard again. Anything we want to do differently. I still don't think Rest in Peace is worth. I didn't see too much different there. We can Gust Scion. Yeah, maybe I should give more credit to Teferi and we could swap like a counterspell for Teferi. Do we like counterspell more than Archmage's Charm? On the draw, is Archmage's Charm too slow? It can steal 1-drops, which is something. I'm nervous to shave Hero because I took out Jace. I'm usually hesitant to take out any number of Hero of Dominaria when I in a matchup where I take Jace out. I don't think Emrakul is the answer. Yeah, Charm being a potential removal spell is big, even an expensive one. But I think... I'm not sure. Counterspell buying me time to get into the Verdict territory might be worth it. I'm a little nervous about that. No idea what the matchup is? Oh, you were just recommending Emrakul anyways. The matchup is Domain Zoo. In case you were curious what it was. Well, the hand's got some good stuff in it, but I think I'm going to throw it back because it is a one-lander. That's true. When they revealed Veil, that's actually a good point. They showed us that they're playing Veil, and that does make that worse. I don't know. We're 3-0, game 3. We're on the draw. I don't think that this is quite a risk it for the biscuit hand, right? They mulligan to 6. One draw, and he draws us another, and we have Aether Gun. I think that this is not a risk it kind of situation. I'll keep this one. They mulligan to 5. Yeah, it's a mulligan. It's a mulligan. But, you know, I like to think about things. I like to think about things. Hold on. We're gonna get a little funky with the music, I think. Show us a rat. I ain't got no rat. They go for the 1/1 Wild Nacatl. Interesting. Maybe a 1-lander. They did mulligan to 5. And it is a presumably low land count deck. Ooh, they did. I would trade a Veil here. Yeah. Ooh, stub. Okay. If they keep missing on the lands, if I get the opportunity to trade a Shark Typhoon here, that would be really big. Oh, wow. Okay. We're looking hot. This is the case. I'm just going to let this happen. Now, especially since I have, like, multiple verdicts now. Easy, just, like, let this through. Ooh, well, that's what I was going to go get, so. Take our 2 for 1 into Teferi. That's going to be great. Though, we'll see what they do, right? If they tap out Teferi, they are a 4-stack, and they did just show me stub. Yeah, another Wild Nacatl, no land, I'm slamming Teferi. If they have force, they have force. That is what it is, you know. No force there is beautiful. God, their deck is really neat. It's unexpected. It's very unexpected. Did they draw the land? This is a super crucial turn for them to draw the land. Land means they probably can clear Teferi. If they miss the land here, the game's probably over. Says we had the power of the funky music. Look at us! Look at us, 4-0. I love it. 4-0 with the blue-white. Could not be happier. Very weird league. I cannot stress how weird the league has been. League has been so weird, dude. All right. What a weird league. Sorry for missing any messages there. I was pretty focused in on that. I didn't even see Hendrick come in. Even tagged me. No. Don't put me into Grixis. Did I try the Jeskai deck? Ugh, I don't even remember what it was, Pike. I might have. I honestly don't remember. Which, I don't even remember what we're talking about. What was the Jeskai deck? You'd kill for Deathrite Shaman to be legal? That's a pretty good card. That's a pretty good Magic card. Oh, it was the Splash Iteration one. No, I haven't tried that one yet. I forgot about that. Ugh, it just seems so wrong to me. I can't... It just seems so wrong to me. The inevitable unbanning, huh? Surely they must unban it. Would you, Hendrick? I feel you though. I've definitely been considering getting rid of some cards myself. I was thinking about getting rid of my old border stuff in Modern that I have. So like old border forces, stuff like that. Selling some of that stuff to get some money. If Monkey is okay, surely Deathrite is fine. I think I disagree with that. I mean, yes, Monkey is very, very, very good, but Deathrite is pretty messed up Magic card. I think people I think people underestimate how good Deathrite Shaman is. I know Monkey is like right in front of our face and feels very strong, but it's been a while since people have seen Deathrite Shaman, and I personally think that people are not evaluating that card correctly. For the people that think it would reasonably be legal and use like DRC and Monkey as a reason for that, I don't think that is true. I also would be willing to accept that I am over evaluating the card, but I don't think that I am. I would be willing to concede that maybe I'm over evaluating it. That was like the beginning era when I started playing Magic, and that card is so absurd. That was like the set I really started playing Magic, and I just have nightmares of that card. Like, I would do if I didn't have to. I need it for a down payment. About 6K short. My option is just all happening here. Oh, okay, okay. I feel you. Surely it's not better than Monkey. See, I disagree there. I think it is quite a bit better than Monkey. I think it's quite a bit better than Monkey. But again, I could certainly see a world where I am wrong here, but I disagree. Looks like it's probably Rhinos. Rhinos missing a land? There's like maybe an argument for not doing that, what I just did, because they're going to 8 and have to discard, and maybe that gives them like, ooh. Okay, we're gonna wait on this. They just discarded a force. We're gonna wait and go for a Teferi with a counter spell up. I'm gonna respect main deck Moon. This is really suspicious. I'm really worried that they're gonna go Violent Outburst plus Force up. Unban one of the artifact lands? Just one of them. If they hardcast Force, that's nice. I have to imagine it's going to be Violent Outburst. It's Violent Outburst. Now I need them to not have Force. If they don't have Force, I think we win this game. But they did discard a Force and totally knew I was a control deck, so... I feel like that means they have another Force. Ooh, they leave me with a Teferi, which means I get to bounce one Solitude. Ooh. That could be huge. Now they could have Fire Ice, Fury. But I'm certainly pitching a Teferi here. Especially with Jace in my hand. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Let's go. Game 1 against Rhinos. Fantastic. Now we get to bring in Veto's Gust Dispute. Veto's Gust Dispute. Veto's Gust Dispute. We can get rid of Spreading Seas. And what? Deluge again? I always cut the Deluges. Oh, nice. It's for an apartment. That's awesome. Do you want Purge for Moon or Fury? Ooh, that's a good point. Clothis could be a thing as well. We used to play with Clothis, so maybe I don't know if that's like how common that card is, but that might be worth considering too. What would I do? Maybe the Sharks aren't good here. Interesting. I kind of like the idea of Purge. Heck yeah, I joined the trophy race. I could see like Purges over Sharks. I think Sharks aren't super good, especially because the Rhinos have trample, so they're not very good at protecting my walkers. They're yeah, and if I like go for like end step Shark, they're like cascade. So I don't even have like a great window to ever really go for the Sharks. Yeah, we were saying that. We said Moon and Fury. Let's try this. One day I will get a matchup where I want Emrakul Promised End. I promise. Oh, promise. I think this hand's pretty weak, so I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. I think we have a lot of really powerful hate cards in our deck, and that hand had none of them. 3 counter spells, huh? Oh, I don't even think that's a hot take, Titan. I think they just should get rid of Luris. Yeah, I think they just super should get rid of Luris. I can get the basic planes here and then counterspell. I kind of want to like keep this and put back Jace. I have get planes, still have counterspell up. Maybe keeping 3 counterspells is suspect. It is not another Uro. Yeah, that take is on fire. Suggesting that Omnath is just another Uro is simply not true. This is awkward. It's not that awkward though. Do 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 do. No ice, no ice, no ice. Oh, what an insane draw. Oh, I get so Blood Moon here, though. Getting Island doesn't really help me all that much under Blood Moon. Helps me a little bit. But I don't want to play... Yeah, I'm going to go with this. Just straight resolves. Okay. That's not a very Blood Moon get. Guessing Petty Theft? Oh, no. Oh, well, no red. No red. No Blood Moon here because they don't have red mana. Okay. I mean, honestly, this kind of just punches me in the face. I can just counter it. Kind of an aggressive counter, but I think I just counter it. That is a scary card, though. That's a scary card. No, it's not. Might have been worth main phasing the Archmages there. I'd rather this get disputed than this, so... Or forced, sure. Like, obviously I need to find something, right? But I could have put Kahir into my hand here. I don't think I like that. If they just, like, rip a Fury, I'm super sad. And I have so many turns with this, I feel like, you know? Every draw step gets a little scarier, though. I think I will counter the Shardless. I think second Shardless is actually pretty annoying. Like, that brings the clock up quite a bit. Land? I don't hate that. Ah, still no land! Come on! Land. Fetch land. Fuck. I can't ending it. If it was a fetch land, I could ending it. Grab Breeding Pool and ending it. Now they get to kill Teferi. I mean, Teferi bought me like a lot of time, drew me a card. It's fine. Verdict isn't the worst draw in case they do draw something like Fury or whatnot. Presumably Teferi's dying here. Come on, man! Come on, we're on turn 10, my guy! We played 300 lands! ice him. Holy shit. Alright, they have fire and ice, I think. They paused on my upkeep. Okay. It's gonna be really hard to resolve this Teferi, I feel like. We're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to be like really patient. They have ice here. I'm feeling kind of bad. I think they do have ice. They ice me on my next upkeep and I die. They're gonna win this game. Shit. Oh, this was such a good game if we just drew anything. They had no cards in hand. They're gonna ice me on my upkeep. They didn't. Maybe they have another flash threat. If they don't win this game, they have 3 cards in hand, though. I have to imagine they do. Oh, they don't. Oh, my gosh. I think counter magic's really likely. Certainly one of the better draws. This with veto to protect it. I mean, if they then have another thing here to counter this Teferi, it's fine, because then it's less things for them to counter this other Teferi with. If he resolves, great. If he dies, if he eats 2 mystical disputes, that's also fine. Your disputes to not have for this other Teferi, you know? And then if we can go Teferi into veto. I mean, veto's not the best, but... Veto's not the best when we have Chalice in play. Once we're like through all their Rhinos, veto doesn't matter as much, but... Oh, yes. Best draw, dude. That is the best draw. To be able to keep this play pattern is super, super good for us. If we get through this turn cycle without a Fury, alright, they have... Sure. Big draw there. Oh god, Ranger, I don't know. Hammer probably would, I don't know. Anything that's got Stoneforge Mystic in it probably would. We're pretty locked up here. I just need to not die. Just don't die. But I've got answers for so much. This could be such bait. Are they just conceding here by casting that? Is that what's happening? Cast another one? I think we just 5-0'd. I think we just got that 5-0, baby. All right. 5-0. Feeling good. 5-0 with the blue-white control. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. It was a weird league, right? I'll recap what we saw. We saw Affinity, Hardened Scales, Enchantress, Cascade. What was the one right before Cascade? Who remembers? It was Zoo. 5-color Zoo. So it was a weird league. 5-color domain Zoo, and then 3 artifact enchantment decks, and then Cascade. Cascade's the primary, like, you know, that's the tier deck, and that's a scary one for it. Like, that last matchup is weird. I'm gonna turn off the music so we can talk about this. That last matchup's weird because I think both decks find the other deck scary, if that makes sense. From blue-white, depending on the configuration of Rhino can be really scary. And then from Rhino, I think blue-white can be scary. So it is scary. So it's weird. It's weird. That matchup I think is close. You know, I don't think they were the Seasoned Pyromancer version, but like Seasoned Pyromancer, they have a lot of things that can be really tricky. They can play into control pretty well, but then obviously we have Thurs and we have Chalices and we have Dopen's Vetoes. These are scary cards. So like the Rhino plan is rough. It is rough for them, I feel like, but the plan Bs can be rough for us. Really glad to take that win there. Enchantress is also a super weird one. Can kind of go either way. Our Fracturing Gust, I would like to give the Sideboard MVP award to Fracturing Gust. It was insane. It was so good, this league. Yeah, Enchantress can be a weird one because, Destiny Spinner backed up by, like, Sterling Grove, Greater Oromancy can cause a lot of issues. You know, all of a sudden their things aren't targetable and are uncounterable. So if they're able to assemble I'm going to open the chest, don't worry. If they're able to assemble that combination early enough under our counter magic, it can be hugely problematic. Affinity as well. Affinity can go under us. Affinity can come out very, very fast. And if we don't find our a prismatic ending that can be impactful or a solitude, they can run us over really quickly. And then, of course, there's Urza Saga. We saw a lot of Saga this league. Card's scary, but we did a very good job at drawing Spreading Seas when we needed to on Sagas. Sagas did not get activated. A lot of Sagas got put in play. Not a lot of Sagas got activated. That was very fortunate. I think we had some very hot draws to get us to the 5-0. So that was nice. We still have yet to see a matchup where we want the Promised End. Emrakul, Aeon's Torn is just there for mill. It is just a card to respect mill. Promised End is there for control mirrors and 4-color decks. Things that are going to grind really long, where you're really not going to expect short games. That's where that card comes in. And we didn't hit any of those here, so I didn't get a chance to test it again. I think Gust and Purge, those were 2 cards that I added last minute. These are very old school. Depends on how you want to classify old school, but pre-Modern Horizons. These are cards we played all the time. Even Modern Horizons 1, when Titan was really big, you saw a lot of 8 their Gust. They're like old school mainstays of blue-white control that have kind of fallen out of favor these days. But I think both actually shined quite a bit this league, especially the Celestial Purge. I think the Purge, giving us some game when we respected Blood Moon, was really big. One of my concerns with blue-white these days is that the way the mana is built is very clean for your spells, but very, very rough into Blood Moon. And Blood Moon is seeing quite a bit of play in the format right now because it is really well positioned. And I'm always iffy being cold to Blood Moon. Blue-white previously was pretty good into Blood Moon. You ran quite a bit more basics, but now with all these double and triple blue spells, you got these Mystic Gates, and you just have a lot more stuff that gets shut off by Blood Moon. So that card can be scary, and I think having Purge in there for when you are expecting Blood Moon is pretty nice. It's weird bringing it in against a deck like Rhinos, right? Because it doesn't do anything against their plan A, but I feel like it's really good against all their plan Bs. It's good against Fury, it's good against Blood Moon, it's alright against Seasoned Pyromancer. We've seen Klothys before. When we play Rhinos, we usually play Klothys. We played like the one of, this is like Giglio's list, and this has been the one I've found the most success with. So it's giving you game there, and then of course it's good in some of those scary matchups like Shadow, Grixis Shadow, and all that stuff. Yeah. So a card I have been finding myself cutting almost every single time is Deluge. The card is decent. It is decent, but you'll notice in so many of those sideboarding games, I have to cut them. And one thing we wanted was potentially the fourth verdict, either main or side. And I could see Deluge being that spot. I do think I want the fourth verdict. I think it is very good right now. We look at that league. We didn't cut verdict once, I don't think. We always just needed our sweeper, right? I think the format right now is playing very heavily into the board. I think there are a decent amount of decks that are backing up their board with counter spells, such as Shadow. So I think maybe it could be the fourth verdict. I think even next time I want to try that. Deluge has just not been quite doing it for me. Right, so I did mention that Wrath of God was something to maybe consider. It's fringe. I don't think we're quite there where you want to play it. I think the counter spells are more important. The protection from counterspell. Verdict, protection from counterspell. Hey, Mana Symbol, thank you for the raid. Thank you. We just got a 5-0. We just played some blue-white control and got a 5-0. So we're just kind of breaking down what went down there and in some card decisions and whatnot. So welcome everybody coming from Mana Symbols. Am I cutting off the stream or playing another league? Well, it's 10:30. I'm thinking maybe we go play. That was a long league. That was about a 3.5 hour league. About 3 hours 20. It was like a 3 hour league. I think maybe we play some of that control game just to wrap up the night a little bit. Do a little control after show. This was a long, pretty grueling league. But where was I? Oh, so Wrath of God is a consideration. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think, Shadow and Murktide are so prevalent. They're prevalent enough. Even decks like Affinity and whatnot are playing, whatever the name of their counterspell is. You know the one I'm talking about, the mana leak that they can do. That I think the can't be countered clause is more important than the can't be regenerated clause, but the old school reasons for splitting the sweepers of humans having meddling mage and the non-regeneration clause are starting to come up. Humans is popping up here and there. It's not mainstream yet, but it is popping up. And the non-regeneration clause, I have been seeing a lot of welding jars. Obviously, it's going to look like I've seen a lot of welding jars after playing a league that had Affinity and Hardened Scales. But even outside of that, I'm seeing welding jars. That card's been a little problematic, and I keep having opponents bringing in Sideboard Thruns. And Thrun is a particularly challenging card for us to beat. I gotta be honest. That card is, super tough. You can't counter it. It's got the regeneration clause. That card's tough. Right. Out of Yawgmoth, I've been seeing it. And that's really tricky. So, I think keep your eye on Wrath of God as an alternative. That maybe the fourth sweeper should be something that respects these cards. All right, here, we're going to open 1, and then we're going to open 10. Here's our 1. Garbage. Show the land base. Here you go. 8 blue fetches. Triome. 5 basics. 2/3 split. 3 gates. 2 fountain. 1 colonnade, 1 storm. These are fine. I do have the breeding pool for the 4th. We've been on this for a long time. I like the breeding pool for the 4 prismatic ending. It also plays nicely with Kahira and Fracturing Gust. I like the 3 Castle of Enchantress. I'm like a little iffy on the Colonnade, but it's fine. It came up quite a bit that league. We did a lot of attacking with our lands that league. So we discussed Dress Down. I do not think it is worth it. I do not think it's worth it. I could be wrong, and I'm willing to test it. But I'm worried that in a deck like this, where you don't have lures to buy it back, you don't have things caring about Delirium in your graveyard, it's just that one shot with a cantrip. You know, obviously it's very good against Saga. It's interesting against, like, Infect. It's interesting against Hammer. Obviously it's pretty good against the Hammer deck. But I am not convinced that that card is worth a slot in blue-white. That being said, could totally be wrong about that. Totally be wrong about that. Oh, you want to see the paper land base? I could do that. You want to see it in paper? Here. Oh, 175 points. There we go. That's a nice chunk of points. A whole bunch of garbage, though? Whole bunch of garbage? Just straight garbage? Not a single card worth even a half a ticket? Oh, we got Sphinx Bone Wand. Fantastic. Paladin in fact. That's actually cool. Okay. Well, that was bad. We got good play points though. All right, here. I'll give you a couple of hot land base cards, okay? You get a couple of hot ones. We'll do this one. This one. What's the next hottest one? Yeah, we'll just do those. These are nice. Here, how about... Oh, do I not have this in here? Is it in my commander deck right now? Oh, it's in my commander deck. Alright, we'll get an English one then. Alright. Good against Yogg. It's good against Yogg, that's true. That's true. It's decent against Yogg. It's decent against Yogg. Alright, here you go. Here's your foil redemption. You've got a Shadowmoor foil Mystic Gate. Very nice. Very nice. Very pretty. I was gonna get the German one, but it turns out that's in my commander deck. You've got a German foil Hollowed Fountain, original Hollowed Fountain. Nice, nice, nice. Good stuff. Then you've got a French foil original Breeding Pool. There you go. Are we allowed to talk about? No, you can't talk about the hair. All right. All right. Well, that was a fantastic league. Good stuff. Good stuff. Really, really stoked to 5-0 there. And I think we'll do a little hour and a half or so after show here of some of the other game we've been playing, which is Control. Not the archetype, but the game. This was a great league. Thank you guys for sticking around for this. If you enjoyed the content and you're not already followed, please do consider doing so. I'll be back tomorrow playing more Magic. We're gonna switch things over a little bit, change up the content, and play a different type of Control. I'm gonna get that set up. I'll be right back.